Hey everyone, it's Storm Chaos, coming to you live from Cyberland. This video has been previously recorded. So as you can see, I am making a video on my grid on playing How You Met Your Caddy tournament on Ultimate Golf, and we're on the 7th hole. So I'm going to demonstrate how I use my grid. I've gotten a lot of questions about my grid. People have seen it in screenshots, they've seen it in instant replays that I've posted, and rather than answer everybody individually, I thought I'd just make a video and get it all done at once. I had started to post in Jester Mafia file chat, and our illustrious president said, "Storm, you're fucking up and making a mess of the channel. Make a video." So Stu, this is for you. Alright, let's get serious. So here we are. You see my grid on the bottom of my screen right here. It spans the entire length of my phone horizontally. Most grids are north, south, they're vertical. I don't like a vertical grid. I don't think it's as accurate as a horizontal grid. So I developed a horizontal grid. My grid's very accurate. As you can see, on the center, you got the center line right here. It divides the grid in half into 2 equal portions. On either side of the center line, there's 3 big units. And inside each of the 3 units, there's 5 units, 5 smaller units. And inside those 5 smaller units is tenths. So this grid is accurate down to 0.01. Whoops, having a little bit of trouble there. Alright. So let's get to it. So this is a par 3 hole. You can see I have all these colored lines in the middle of my screen. That's my club range finder. We'll talk about that at a different time. Let me get rid of this. This is something I was working on for the HUD. Okay, so what do we have here? We got a par 3 hole. It's the 7th hole. We're using root. First thing I like to do is figure out what the max range is and how far back from maximum am I. It's information that you need if you want to have an accurate wind adjustment number. So we're going to put it there. Right now I'm 6 rings back from max. That was 6, right? Yep, that's 6 rings back from max. So the first thing I'm going to do is input all the information that I need into the Ultimate Guide wind calculator. So we have a 2.3 wind. It is going, it's a southwest wind, and we were using a 10% ball. So let's put all that in. Come out of the meshes. Let's get to the right club. We're gonna have to go to the bag. Now I need to pop back and forth. I can't go through too many screens, otherwise I'll get disconnected from the game, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So it's most important that you have your bag loaded with the proper clubs in the wind calculator. The different ring spans, ring ranges, it affects the output of the number that it provides you. So you really got to make sure that all your clubs that are in your bag are in the bag that's in the wind calculator. That's the first thing. So we had a 2.3 wind. It was going, I believe, like this. We were, wrong club, we were with the root club, and we're 6 rings back from max. Put that there. This particular club has a ring span of 12. So we input all that data, and we have a 1.4 ring count adjustment for the wind. So now that we've done that, what I'm going to do is set up my shot. I know that we have a 1.4 ring wind count adjustment. I like to know that number straight away, in case we find ourselves in a situation like where we're, say this was max, say we had a headwind, and we needed to adjust north and we couldn't. I'd have to drop back first. I'd need to know how far back I had to drop so that I could make my adjustment and end up at max. So that's why I do that first. It's just habit. Okay. And by doing it first, I'm paying attention so I don't make mistakes. You know, I've found myself where I've adjusted, didn't have enough room to move, had to readjust. So if I input everything first, and I just have a protocol that I follow, it saves me a lot of time from making errors and having to do things twice. So we know we're that. We know we're 6 rings back. What I do is I turn my grid so that I can see horizontally the side view of the shot that we're going to make. Let me blow it up a little bit here so everybody can see it. Okay, we'll put it on 5 units, and I need to get this so that they're both on the same plane, so that I know it's accurate, not that we're measuring it at an angle. Because if we're measuring it at an angle, then it's not accurate. So what I'm trying to do is perfect. Right here, I've got the top of the grid covering half the hole. I know that the apex of the ball guide is in line with that, and we're right in the right spot. All right, so this is how I'm going to drag when I do it. So what I'm doing now is, I said I wanted to have it on 5, and let's see, we are at max backspin, and at this zoom level I can see actually that we're gonna have to go back to about 6. It's gonna be 6. What I'm doing is I have my ball guide stopping where I can the visual effect of the ball guide stopping right at the center line. I know probably from where you guys are, it looks like it's stopping. Oops. It looks like it's stopping right about here or here, but I can actually faintly see the arc. So that's the entire shot view. Root has a 60% shot view value. So what that means is what we're seeing is 60% of the entire how far the ball is going to actually go once it hits the ground. So what I need to do is I need to determine the distance between here and here and have that be accurate. So we're 6 rings, we're 6 units away from the center line. And the way we're going to figure that out, it's just basic math. Basically, it comes down to a conversion. We know 6 is 60%. We need to know what 100% is. So we're going to do 6 multiplied by 100 divided by 60. And that will give us what the 100% value is, which is what we're looking for. So we do 600 divided by 60, and you get 10. So we know that the ball is going to roll out to, this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to roll out to about there. And it's going to roll a little bit further than that. But because the numbers that we're provided with aren't 100% accurate, but it's a real good indicator of how far it's going to go. So we're actually 11 away. I tend to give it a little bit extra if I have a tailwind. If I have a headwind, I tend to shorten it up because the headwind compresses the ball guide arc. Tailwind extends it. So this is actually pretty good. I'm going to put it to the 10 unit, so you can see how I would normally adjust it. So that's at 10 from the total distance of where this was. I just move this back, and that's the proper distance between the pin and where the ball is going to land and roll out. So now that we've messed around with that, I come back and I take a look, and I want to have the guide straight, and I want to make sure that there's no curvature, that this portion here is running true to the grid line. And it looks like we need to adjust some side spin on this shot. We definitely do. We're going to go a little bit. We're going with the wind. And that looks better. Just make a... That looks much better. I zoom in. I always want to make sure that the ball guide is going to the cup, to the center of the cup. And it looks like it's a shade off. But when you're looking at that, you've got to be looking at it straight on. So it's actually a hair off. We're going to just bring this over just ever so slightly. And we've got that spot on. So we've set the proper distance from the pin. Now we know our wind adjustment is going to be 1.4. I rotate my screen so that the wind is facing west. East rather, and we're going to adjust west. So now what we do is I like to make sure that the center of the radius is up against on one of these grids, and it goes up against the center line. We're actually 6 units away, 6.1 units away. We're going to call it 6. Our wind is directly east, so it's exactly where I want it. Now, what we need to do is figure out what 40% of this value is. So we're at, if you remember in the beginning, I said each one of these smaller units has 10 in it. It's down accurate down to 0.01. So we're going to go 60 because there's 60 lines from here to here. We're going to multiply it by point. Well, we need to know what 40 is, but we also need to know what the balance is. So we're going to multiply it by 0.60. 0.40 plus 0.60 is 1 whole unit. And we come up with 36. So 60% of this ring, and this ring is not the entire circle, it's only half, is 36 units. So I'm going to move this. Now, this is very important. If we adjust vertically, this ring is going to change size. So where we start, right, we have our apex directly on this center red line of the top row grid. It needs to be there when we end. That preserves the ring size. So we're going to move this over 36 units. That's 30. The red mark is 5. And we're going just one line past it. That's 36. So this side of the center line is 60%. This side is 40%. So this is our 40% ring adjustment from the apex of the ball guide to the center line. So we're going to adjust the 40 now. I'm looking, I check make sure my wind indicator hasn't moved and shifted. It's still spot on. We're going to slide this over. This would be our 40% adjustment. Now we're going to go and finish out. We're going to do 1 whole ring. And that is 1 whole ring. So that's our 1.4 ring adjustment. And that's how you adjust for wind. You're always going to pull opposite of the direction the wind is facing. The wind indicator is facing. So that's done. I like to take a look at where I am. I do this for head-to-head play, believe it or not. So what I do is I just visually look at it. I look at the numbers. So when I'm playing head play, I can guesstimate pretty good where I should be when I'm taking these quick 30-second shots that we're doing. Okay, so now everything's done, and the only thing left to do is hit a ultimate shot, and hopefully we'll get that. And we got it. And there we go. We got a hole in one. So this is how I use my grid. Too many adjustments. Let's play another hole. I'll show you how I use my club range finder. So my club range finder is basically all these colored lines that you see on my screen. What I've done is I've transferred it from one side of the screen to the other so that you have to zoom out, so that I can basically measure my distance from the hole out and know where my club range is going to be. So this needs to be perpendicular to from where we're starting to this. So what we need to do is we need to line us up, have one side on our unit, on our guy, and one side on at the apex of the pin for the flag for the hole. So I know right where we are. This here is my Bigfoot range. This right here is my wood range. It's set for root. This is my short iron range, and from here to here is the wedge range. So what I'm trying to do is I want my ball to end up right in here. and that will be my Bigfoot range. So it's very important that this center line, or that our flag and our guy are perpendicular to each other. They're just in a straight line. If it's at an angle, it's not going to work because it was measured this way. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put our ball here. We've got a tailwind. I'm going to put some backspin on this. I don't want it to roll too far. We're going to move it up. And when I shoot this and it stops, we should be in Bigfoot range. I like to plan my shots out, and there we have it. We're in Bigfoot range. Now hopefully the maximum range is going to be close to the cup, and it is. So I've got my shot exactly where I want it. Now, like I said, the first thing I do is I take all my data and I input it into the wind calculator. And I do this because I want to know if I'm going to have to make an adjustment forward, which I am. We're going to move back a ring. We'll just say we're one ring off. So we got a 2.3 mile per hour wind, 10-degree ball. We're one ring off of max. Switch over to the brake club, 2.3 wind, 10% ball, and our wind was, I believe it was that, or I'll go back and double check. It was. So what you saw when I first started the video, I had a symbol in the middle of the screen, and that was this. Let's go to my meshes. We'll put this up. This is something that I started to work on. So this is going to help me make sure that my wind indicator in the wind calculator is accurate. So we are on the blue line going this way. Let's get to the right ball. We're going to have to input all that data again. Whenever you change a club, it all gets moved. And we're here. There we go. We were one ring from max. So we have a 1.49 ring adjustment. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up for our shot. And actually, I really don't like where I am. So we're going to move this. When we make our adjustment here, we're going to move the pin closer to max. So the long iron Bigfoot has a 58% shot view. 58. You can find all this information. You have all the information you need to calculate the correct ring adjustment. It's provided to you by the game. You just need to know where to find it. So we're going to get ourselves on the right plane. That's very important. Let's move ourselves up a little. So it's not imperative that your ring count be exact. It only changes, a couple points. And since we're measuring, we're so accurate, 1 or 2 points isn't going to be enough to throw it off that you miss. Not typically, you know, it could be, but usually not. So I've never noticed me missing or making a shot being 1 or 2 points off. So what we need to figure out is the total rollout. And this is where we're going to have an issue with being accurate. The wind calculator was designed to be used with clubs with maximum backspin. The fact that we're not using maximum backspin, that's the big factor that's going to alter the result of our shot. So already, I'm hoping just to get like an 890, 895. I'm not anticipating making a drop because we're not at maximum backspin. So we are, well, let's figure out what we are at with maximum backspin, where we should be. And if need be, I can always readjust the ring and make a modification. So this is 3 units. So we're going to do 3 by 100. 300 divided by 58 is 5.17. So the pin with this ball shot view should be about here, right in there, just after the 5 mark. That's not going to work for us. So we're going to kick this out. That was our illustrious President Stu. This video is for you. So we're going to move this back. We're going to compromise. We're going to go, I'll put it on the 4 mark. We'll just move this. I don't want to be too close to the hill where the fairway starts. So it's right about there. So we're going to call that 5. So we want to do 500 divided by 58 is 8.6. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.6 is there. We're going to put our pin at 8.6. We're going to adjust back to the 5, which puts us back at max. So I don't really want to do that. What I'm going to do, we're going to back up about 1 ring. We're going to make our adjustment. We're going to just have to roll out more to get closer. So now we're at 7. Let's do this. 700 divided by 58 is 12.06. And we are at we're just under 12. This is 7, this is 5, that's 12. We're going to end up moving back just a little bit. We want to be right there. We're going to scoot this back just a hair. No, actually, let's put this back. I don't want to be any closer to the edge than what I am. I got concerns about it. We're going to just put a little backspin on to shorten that up. So that's 6.5. No, it's still 7. It's still 7. Yeah, it's still 7. Now we're a little closer. Let's see here. We want to just do a hair more backspin. Try and shorten that. And that looks like it's pretty good. Okay. So we're going to call that good. The issue that I'm concerned about with this is how close to the edge we are right here. So let's set our shot up. So we know we're good here. The distance is good. Let's get our ball straightened out. Get this moved over. Sometimes what I end up having to do is when I'm doing this, I have to go in. I go in and I just deactivate my mesh so that I have a clear visual of what I'm trying to adjust without the grid there. It's very easy. Which people say, oh, the screen's too cluttered. Yeah, it's cluttered, but you know what? It's very easy to unclutter. So let me just focus on this for a second. That's straight. All right, so I got a nice view of the top. I need to adjust like this. I'm getting the ball guide straight first. I'm getting this straight right there. I want that to be perfectly straight, or as straight as what I can get it. That's important. And that looks pretty good. It's a tolerable range. I'm gonna move this over and take another look at it. We know it's off slightly now. We got to go back to the left. Let's see. Boy, the screen is jumpy today. Okay. And actually, as you can see, we now are veering to the left after we moved. It's going to require us to move this over. What I'm going to end up doing now, just for this, oh, perfect. Got to just put a little more side spin on. These adjustments, the more time you take setting it up and making sure it's right, the better chance you're going to have getting it in the hole. And that looks pretty good. We're not centered on the hole. Rather than move the ball, again, I'm just adjusting my side spin to get that on the center of the hole. I like it. So we're going to go back. We're going to activate our meshes. We're going to turn this middle wind indicator off. Go back to the game. We know we had a 1.49, I believe it was. So let's put it in again. We'll input the data. We have a 2-3 wind, a 10% ball. We were using our Bigfoot. We said we were one ring from max. We're not. It's a little different. And our wind was about there. So it's saying 1.5. We were 1.49. Now it's 1.5. It's fine. Now we're going to adjust for the wind. We want our wind to be facing east. Put the edge of the right there. My apex for the ball guide is on the center red line. We're using the top grid again. The reason why I have 3 grids is because the different radiuses of the rings. Sometimes you're actually measuring here and you've got the apex here. It depends on just a lot of factors. Every once in a while you've got something like that. Sometimes you're measuring in the middle of the between two rings, and you're running on one of these tracks. You can either use the top of the grid, the center line of the grid, the bottom of one of the grid lines. You know, whatever's comfortable for you. It's just important that whatever plane you start on, you finish on when you are done making your adjustment. So I like that. My wind is perfect. We're going to put this here. So we have a 50% value, which makes it easy. So wherever we are, 4 on 5, which is what I'm going to try and do, we're going to move out 2.5. So we're on a 5. We're going to go 2.5 over. It's where we're going to start. I didn't move with the adjustment. I just moved the whole screen. So that's 2.5. So we know this side is 50%, this side is 50%. It ends on 2.5, and we're right there, the apex is at 2.5. So visually it looks like the right side is bigger, but that's actually half of the ring span. And like I said, the center circle is 2 rings. So we're going to make our adjustment. Here's the half. That's half of one ring. Now you could, if you wanted, go back like this and start over. You don't have to complete all the way across. You can move it like that, you know, do small micro adjustments and stuff. So that was half a ring. Now we're going to put the apex on this. Now you see we were, after we adjusted, we're now at max range. So it pushed it back a little bit. I'm going to leave it. We have a bigger rollout. We're not with max spin, maximum backspin. So I don't expect this to drop. It's a possibility that it could. Now you see how our shot view is skewed. That's okay, because it's adjusted for when it lands here. It's straight when it lands here. I don't care what it's doing right now. You know, it could be going off to East Bumblefuck. It doesn't matter what it's doing right now, because this is what it does when it hits this spot. But it's not going to hit this spot because the wind is going to move it. So let's take our shot. So we're hoping for an ultimate shot. We're going to get our ball in the center here. We got an ultimate shot, and so we've done the best that we can do. Whatever happens, happens. And we got an 890, and that's what I was hoping for. So this is my grid. This is how I do it, and that's how I use it. If you got any questions, feel free to give a shout out in chat, or find me on Discord, Storm Chaos number 4803. Have a good day, guys.